Good evening, everybody. So, the last couple of weeks, I'm not the only one who's been covering Mr. B's and the Chris Tyson allegations, rumor, drama. It's been everywhere. Um, has made headline after headline because more and more people have came out, whether it be a abuse victim or video exposing Mr. B's. It's been a mess, and the other night before I fell asleep, or lack of sleep I got really, I went on X as always and see what's going on. And a lot of people say that this whole dilemma is sort of messy. And what in some regards it is messy, but also at the same time it's kind of what do you expect? It leads to one thing after the other. It's like because Chris Tyson has such a connection to Mr. Beast, it only kind of makes sense that things about him will be released as well, because people know about the leaks that happened on the Discord server. Now I'll do a separate video on that, but right now I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about what's going on right now. And yesterday night, one of Mr. B's employees came out and more or less said, because what happened was there was one of Mr. B's ex-employee made a video, and that video basically was exposing him. Well, now one of Mr. B's close friend came out and said like, "Oh, this isn't true. This isn't true." Was right now, like I'll post a screenshot of the conversation on both sides, and I'll let you people decide. And to me, it's kind of interesting. It's a little interesting because it's whether or not Mr. Beast wants the video, he probably did, and that whole video was about exposing Mr. Beast basically being a liar and a fraud. There was things about the charity he did. Now, I'm not really too well versed in that kind of stuff. And for me, I guess like a lot of Mr. Beast's big fans and child fans are trying to defend him at all costs as the ways like counter signal, I guess. Um, and whether or not you agree with that, you can go ahead. But the whole argument, went from there, and I see it as, I guess I see something interesting that's gonna happen because, like, at the same time, other people have been coming out, and some people say, "Oh, this is like," some people think this is the first person to ever come out and leak and made evidence against Mr. Beast. No, there's been other people. Even the guy said, like, "Hey, these are other people who have made multiple complaints, going against Mr. Beast. He has lied about charity. He has lied about the money going in, because apparently Mr. Beast promised to give people money. There's a whole lottery thing, like where from what I understand, like there are certain laws about that, and the whole gambling thing. That's one thing, and I will say that this is crazy. It's pretty crazy how we're witnessing this all happen on real time. Whether or not you believe in the guy who exposed Mr. Beast, or whether or not you believe his friend right now, it's up to you. It's up to you, really. Personally, for me, I kind of believe the guy who exposed him because I always just felt there was something not right about Mr. Beast. Now that's just probably my own personal bias, but I do see that maybe as the case that there is something that's there. There's nothing. There's something not right, right? And obviously, Mr. Beast has enough money, has enough clout. Hell, worst case scenario, he probably has some political power where he's able, to put hide everything under the rug. It wouldn't surprise me one bit, just given how big and famous he is. That he had people doing favors for him. Um, and there's been people just saying, "Aha, it's finally exposed him." People are nitpicking. It goes both ways of the argument, and people say like, again, going back to what I said, people think this is messy, and it is messy. But I think this was gonna happen no matter what. There was no way, right? Because at the same time as it's happening, a bunch of people are being exposed for having connection to Shatman. So it's no matter what, you couldn't avoid it. He couldn't avoid it. No one could avoid it. And then things are going forward. we are gonna see more people coming with evidence, counter evidence. So we'll wait and see what happened until Mr. B's Jimmy will come out and make a statement. I don't think he will. I think right now he is having his lackeys just go out and defend them as like sacrificial pawns until like the very end where he has to get involved, right? Or he has to himself get involved, and so we'll we'll witness that as time go on. We'll witness that as things go. Because right now there's this whole thing about his Amazon show, and there's been multiple leaks. There's multiple videos exposing what's been going on. I'll put some of those in the end of the video as well. So expect that. It's crazy. It's a very crazy situation that we are witnessing in real time right now. That this big name Zoomer, I don't think he even is Zoomer. I think he's actually like a late millennial. I could be very wrong, but we're witnessing this in real time, and we're just like a slow clamp. I see this as I had an example in my head when I was driving today. The example is like this whole scenario is basically like a cut, right? You got a cut on your hand, you got a cut somewhere in your body, right? More particularly in your hand, near your fingers, right? You don't think about it, it's just a small little cut. It's like whatever. But given that Mr. Beast probably did some dirty work, he had did some stuff that he shouldn't have done with his hands. Again, this is his own metaphor. Um, he that cut is slowly being affected, right? Whether it be with a virus, a fungal, a bacteria, or an amoeba, it's slowly affecting his hand. It's slowly affecting him, and he, as he's trying his best to count. He's trying his best to ignore it, right? Because like eventually that could become dangerous if you're not careful. Best case scenario, it heals by itself. Maybe there's a scar or two, whatever, right? But that's usually sometimes the best case scenario. It just heals by itself, and it's like, okay, whatever. It was just a stupid little cut. Worst case scenario, he completely loses his life. Again, now this is all metaphorical. This is very metaphorical. What I'm just implying is that if he is not careful, or he doesn't make a statement, or things will go on, he'll lose his metaphorical hands, fingers, parts of his body. Again, his empire that he built is slowly being withered away and rotting. Whether or not that will happen, I don't know. But I could see something like this, and it won't be the only time I will refer to this metaphor. But it is where things are going, and if he's not careful, it will mean that he'll probably lose everything. Especially as more and more people expose him. But at the same time, I can see people who like him or has people who have got money from him, or pocketing his hands, like what I mean, like people who are colluding in the background. I can see them slowly coming out of the woodwork and say, well, this is when you're wrong. Well, if you had a problem, why couldn't you? Because, and also, I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy had NDA at all time, and he has an army of lawyers, some of the best lawyers you can think of offhand. I wouldn't have, don't be surprised. Don't kid yourself if that's not the case. But we are. It's funny to see that now it took some of his friends a couple days to respond to this stuff, and he couldn't, right? So we'll wait and see what happens. As I said, I'll put a bunch of screenshots. I'll let you guys decide. I'll even link some of the people who complain against him, some of the exposure. We'll wait and see what happens next. Because I will keep updating people as time goes on. I have other stuff as well I'm going to make video on. Especially, I have a bit of a complaint about Murahara. But again, this isn't about these people. It's really now more about Mr. Beast and Chris Tyson. There was some stuff that was revealed during the Discord leak that I was able to read through. That I'll do something about that too. But probably gonna be a separate video, and this is his own video. Because even though they're connected one way or another, they're all connected. I'd rather just break these video separately rather than make a long video, rather than make a 10-minute video and have to like quickly go through everything. I'd rather to do separate videos and just try to do my best to explain them. It's usually how I'm going to try to approach things from here on forward. But until then, I hope everybody have a good day. Hello everybody, so a quick update. I guess on X, Keemstar on his personal account made a response to the guy who was releasing the exposure video on Mr. Beast. It's kind of weird because originally I was just gonna upload the beginning part and then be done and over with. But this came out and I was gonna do a separate video, but I decided not to, and so I'm just gonna add it to this. So whatever original video I was gonna put right at the end of me talking will be put towards the end anyway, and I'll add in screenshots that just happened a moment ago. Keem kind of was like, "Oh, everything has been debunked," and then the guy Dogpack 404, I believe is his name, came out and responded towards it. Some people are saying Keem, it's in the pocket of Mr. Beast. Probably is, but that didn't surprise me. That should be expected because I think more and more stuff has been leaked, and Keem has admitted to working with Mr. Beast, so that isn't really surprising. Because he'll tag Chris Tyson, but he won't tag his master, Mr. Beast. But that's not surprising. That's all I really wanted to say. This was kind of more or less a quick update, or just more of an add-on to what I was saying originally. Quickly though, new leaks supposed to come out with Chris Tyson early on today or tomorrow. So whatever I had originally planned for that, I'm gonna have to postpone that and wait until those come out and see what happens. So, but thank you. Sorry for have to redo an update.
So today is first morning, I guess it's afternoon now, that I've experienced being eliminated from the new Mr. Beast game challenge. They eliminated 400 people the first day. Those 400 people, the majority of them were forced by the other team members to be on the specific team they were. Some were just about physically assaulted to be put onto one team, which ended up making it the weakest team, since it was a lot of elderly people, petite women, and people that they weren't willing to take on 6 guys that were surrounding them trying to take their vest so that they can actually be on that. Of the 400 people that left, the majority of them, I'd say at least half, are all extremely depressed. I don't know if I can say extremely, but I definitely know that they are depressed. As far as I've heard from so many people that I've talked to personally, as well as people that I've spoken to that are employed by other organizations that are around the games right now, a lot of people have come up and expressed that they are really not doing okay. It was so much work and exhausting to just get to that point to even be in the games, and then to be kicked out, and you kind of get ostracized. The staff, they become really cold towards you once you're actually kicked out. Mr. Beast does not talk to everybody, all his fans or anything, and there's so many different things. I'll keep giving updates on this, but Mr. Beast is a monster, and the games that he does are really cruel and sick. They actually had called a one kind staff member of the only three kind staff members that I came across that were really concerned about the well-being of all the people that were so distraught, had actually come to me and asked me if I was okay, and I told them I wasn't. I told them that I wanted to die, and one of them had called a psychologist to come on set and talk to me. And that psychologist had even informed me shows like Mr. Beast, and I'm assuming probably similar type game shows, they kind of destroy the contestants. It is extremely psychologically damaging, and I really think that it should end. Yeah, there are a lot of updates that I'm going to give. I made a video last night when I was prepared and planning on killing myself last night, because I have already lost everything else in my life, and being a part of the Mr. Beast games just for the experience of doing fun, unique activities, it gave me something to look forward to. It gave me something to be really happy and excited about. And then when they ripped it away, my first thought was to try and figure out some way that maybe I can salvage it somehow. Do you get money from the show? Yes and no. You get fake money while you're on the show. Complete fake money, and then they take it from you right after they get their little shots done. And then they have you sign some paperwork where they tell you that they're going to send you the money at a later point in time. For me, it was supposed to be $1,000 That's like nothing. $1,000 for everything that we'd gone through. And it takes 4 months. It was going to take 4 months to get to me, as Mr. Beast and his staff knew that I was homeless and had nothing when I went on the show. And I had to buy stuff for wardrobe to be on the show. Like, I did everything that I could to try and be able to stay on the show as long as I could. And then the people on the show, like, had such a hard time getting their medication. Many people, and these are prescription medications, many people, sometimes they hadn't gotten their medication for like 2 days. Some of it was like epileptic medication, like really vital, necessary medication. I know for me, every time I went to go and try and get my medication, I would have trouble as well. Sometimes just the lady distributing the medication, she would just give me a lot of attitude because I take my medication more than once in a day. And so when I'd come back, a second time or a third time, she would get irritated with me because I already got my medication. So it is Mr. Beast, like he genuinely just wants to psychologically like disturb people. And that's exactly what his show is. And I've heard this from a lot of reputable sources now. That show really is destroying lives. And I sadly, I'm not going to be surprised if many people from the show that he's doing currently right now end up killing themselves.